What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today I have my full review on the Nike Phantom 6, and I feel like with the Nike Phantom 6 we kind of seen this before with the Nike Phantom GX1. The design is very similar, but this time around they just kind of made it slightly better, a little bit more comfortable in my opinion. So overall I think it is a better boot, but I feel like I said, we've seen this design before. So with the Nike Phantom 6 we still get a grip knit upper just like the GX1 and the GX2. And this time around, I feel like the grip is just a little bit more balanced. It doesn't feel too sticky. It's still sticky, obviously, but it's not like overly sticky. I feel like with the GX1 and the GX2, that boot did feel kind of sticky at certain times, especially when it was dry. The GX2 felt a little bit better, but this feels a little bit more balanced, and it's probably because of these ridges, just because it does create some space. And so like maybe not the whole thing is making contact, and there isn't a whole lot of grip. But it still feels pretty good. For me, I maybe tripped over it once in the beginning when I first tried them on. After that, I never really tripped over the ball. Just that's just because I was used to it. But if it's your first time trying a grip knit upper, then you probably will trip over the ball. But you just got to get used to it, and it kind of goes away. And now the upper here, I just found it to be very soft. Break-in time is very minimal. I put these on and they were pretty much good to go. Like the knit upper, like I said, it's super soft, pliable. It is kind of on the thin side. I wouldn't really say this is a thick upper, even though it is kind of two layers. It still feels pretty thin. And like I said, you do have ridges, but honestly, you don't really feel it. The upper is grippy already, so I don't think it provides any extra grip. You do have this little area here where it's kind of a different color for when you're shooting. And honestly, I just didn't really notice it. Me personally, when I was shooting, it didn't really feel any firmer, or I don't think it adds any more grip. Um, it does feel just a little bit more raised, I guess, or just thicker here. But like I said, I honestly didn't feel it when I was shooting. So I feel like that really isn't super important. So moving on to the shape of the boot, and they kind of changed it back to the GX1, but it isn't as tight, but it's not as wide as the GX2. So there is a little bit more room here in the midfoot, but not as wide as the GX2. And the toe box here, I really like it because they made it more round. So it does eliminate just a little bit of extra space that the GX2 had. And for me, I just find it a little bit more comfortable just because it's not squeezing my toes here. The GX2, it did fit a little snug in the toes, and this just feels a little bit more comfortable. So that's really nice. Moving on to the heel. The heel, I honestly didn't really like all that much. Me personally, it just feels a little bit on the wider side, and it kind of feels a little squared even after I did wear these. Like it just feels squarish. And also the padding, it is there, it's soft, but I feel like the padding doesn't do a good job of holding my heel. Like my heel never slipped out or anything like that. But sometimes when I would plan to shoot, I just felt a little bit of a shift, and that's something I didn't feel with the GX1 or the GX2. And with the Phantom 6, I do feel it at times. It's nothing crazy, but it is something that I didn't want to mention. So I feel like Nike just needs to like make it just a little bit more pinched, I think, just so it hugs, or just add just a little bit more padding, just because the padding here isn't as much as the GX2. The GX2 had more padding, and I felt that that helped with the heel lockdown. Um, but yeah, the Phantom 6 heel isn't the best. I have heard that the DF version is a little bit better in terms of heel lockdown, just because it is kind of more pinched. I probably will be getting a pair of those just to test them out, but for right now I've only tried the low, so I can only speak about the low. Moving on to the sole plate, this is a really nice improvement from the Cyclone 360, from the Luna and the GX2. Just because that sole plate felt very chunky, this one feels just a little bit more balanced and just better in general. Like they added more conical studs here in the forefoot, and it kind of made the Cyclone 360 pattern just slightly smaller, so it doesn't feel super chunky. It is still pretty aggressive. I wear my pair for AG, and I absolutely do not recommend that. Just buy the AG sole plate. But honestly, I can get away with it. I didn't really find myself getting stuck whatsoever, even with this Cyclone 360. I feel like the conical studs here really helped. So for me, it was fine. And the sole plate itself is a lot stiffer. It's still flexible here in the forefoot, which is fine. I don't mind it. But here in the midfoot, it's nice and stable. It is a little bit more responsive than the GX1 and the GX2 AG. But yeah, the sole plate for me is a good improvement. So now in terms of performance, the boot overall performs well. I feel like when I was cutting really hard on the sides, I didn't really feel any movement. It felt pretty secure. I didn't feel any shift. Only the heel when I planted, like I said, but that only happened sometimes. In terms of shooting and passing and everything, it feels great. Like you just get a little bit of extra grip when you're shooting, and so you could curl the ball just a little bit more or just a little bit more easily, in my opinion. Obviously, you still need technique, but it kind of is helpful. I did notice that I could put more spin on the ball easily with this boot that has a grip compared to other boots. So shooting wise, I really enjoyed it. It's a really fun boot to wear. Like I said, I really like that grip knit, the extra grip that it provides. Just feels really nice. But like I said, it's nothing new that we've seen from Nike. I feel like this is more of a refined version of the GX1, which isn't a bad thing just because the GX1 was a really good boot. And this just feels a little bit more comfortable, I would say, a little bit more balanced. Still a very solid boot. It's a very good option if you guys do want a boot with a lot of grip. Alright guys, so that's it for my review on the Nike Phantom 6. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so you're notified for future videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.